Hello everybody, it's James with Love My Pups, my breeder supply Q&A session. I haven't done one for a couple of weeks, so I'm going to go do two of them, but I'll break them up to two parts so it doesn't get to be too horribly long. Okay, so somebody from Hawaii is asking about the room temperature for their puppies. They say, it's very warm here in Hawaii, and I don't think that I need to have any extra heat for my puppies. Is that right? No, it's not right, it's wrong. So think about it this way. The temperature of a dog is something around 100 degrees Fahrenheit or something around 39 degrees centigrade. To get heat to go into the puppies, the room temperature is going to have to be above 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and that obviously is not going to be the case. That would be a very, very uncomfortable room. So you always, regardless of where you live, you always need to have heat for your puppies. And what we recommend is that you use our system, our whelping system, where we provide heat directly under the pig rail. What that does is the puppies, just very quick on this, done lots of videos on this, but basically we provide heat. We have a system that provides heat just underneath the perimeter edge of the whelping box or crate or cage. And then there's a pig rail that's above all of that. So the puppies migrate to this nice warm area under the pig rail and they fall asleep there. It's not a safe place they could be. But look, regardless of whatever you do, if you use a heat lamp, which I don't like, or if you use a heat pad, or you use our system, you've got to use something, one of those three. Got to keep your puppies warm. If you don't, you're going to run into problems. How do I get a lilac from a Trindle ATA that carries blue and chocolate? Okay, so this girl she's ATAT, which means that she has tan points. She carries blue, she carries chocolate, she carries blue. She's a brindle, she's a trindle, so it's KYKB. How do I get lilacs out of that? Well, a lilac dog is little b, little b, little d, little d. So, you've got to put this with a dog that at the very least has a chocolate gene and has a blue gene. And if you put those two dogs together, then you would get some blues and some chocolates and some lilacs, but not very many lilacs. The problem is that both of these dogs only give out the chocolate gene half the time, each of them, so that's a half times a half. And they only give out the blue gene half the time, it's a half times a half. So the probability of you getting a lilac from that combination is 1/8. 1/8 of the puppies would be lilac. Not a very good chance of getting lilacs out of it. So there's a better way, and the answer is that you'd want to breed to a lilac, which is both a blue and a chocolate dog combined. And if you breed those two together, then what you're going to get is half the time you're going to get BB, and the other half of the time you'll get BB, chocolate dogs and chocolate carriers. Same thing's true on this. Half the time you're going to get DDs, and half the time you're going to get little d, little d's. So now 1/4 of your dogs are lilac, and of the rest of them you're going to get blues that carry chocolate and chocolates that carry blue. Yeah, come on now. For it so you can at least see it. So, what's the exact ratio going to be? Actually, you're going to get 1/4 that aren't blue or chocolate, they're just carriers. You'll get 3/8 of that and 3/8 of that. So that would be a much better litter for you. So the answer to that one is, I would breed to a lilac. If you want to get lilacs, breed to a lilac. You have a much better chance of getting lilacs. Somebody's asking if I could do a thing on eye color genetics. No, it's just, I don't want to make any predictions on eye colors at all. I mean, there obviously is genetics involved, but the problem is that we don't have a way for testing for it. There are some colors that you tend to see in dogs. You know, most puppies are born with blue eyes. People would like to see blue-eyed puppies, but unfortunately that doesn't happen. They typically change color. Lilac dogs tend to have more of a washed out color, grays and lighter blues that stay that way. Chocolates tend to have more of a golden color, but there's all kinds of colors you get: blues, chocolates, oranges, greens. They're all possible colors. So I can't help much on that. Somebody's asking, how often should I feed my puppies? So the answer to this is, if you're feeding puppies totally without mum's help, then you want to feed their body weight in pounds, convert that to just cc. So what I'm meaning here is, if you have body weight in ounces, you feed that in cc's. Or milliliters is the same thing. So, example, and I've got to better put that right because someone's going to complain. So you can read that in cc's or milliliters. Right, so what does that mean? So a 10-ounce puppy would get fed 10 milliliters or 10 cc's every 3 hours. So that's what you do. And I feed goat's milk, or you can feed a milk substitute for puppies like Espalac. Don't use cow's milk. Dogs will have diarrhea. They can't digest it very well. So 10 ounces puppy gets 10 mils. 5-ounce puppy gets 5 mils. 20-ounce puppy gets 20 mils every 3 hours. Don't overfeed your puppies. If they're feeding on mum as well, then they may not need much supplemental feeding. If they've got swollen, bloated bellies and they're all happy and quiet, they probably don't need feeding. You can tube feed, you can bottle feed. If you bottle feed, they're going to tell you when they've had enough, because they'll move their faces off the side and they'll stop trying to get the bottle. If they start to have milk coming out of their noses, then back up for a few seconds, take a towel, mop up their nose and go back at it. If you tube feed, you don't have any of those issues, but you can tube feed too much and have it run out of their nose too. So be careful about feeding too much. All right. I've got videos on all of that, by the way. Somebody's talking about a puppy, they take their ears up, they're all doing fine, but some of the puppies, their ears are folding over. So as opposed to an ear that folds down like this, which you want to tape that up, what they're talking about is you've got a puppy's ear, I won't be able to draw this very well, where it folds over at the top like that. So it starts to curl back like that. That's the ear. Lousy picture. There's the eye. Okay. There's the eye. Okay. So it folds over the other way. Now, you can tape it up if you want to. I think it'll straighten itself out. I don't think you have to do anything. I've seen dogs where they do turn backwards after you tape them. They kind of go even further back the other way. They seem to resolve themselves by themselves. Extender. What type and why are you using it? We're talking about semen here. We're talking about adding. So when you collect from a dog, you want to collect what's called a sperm-rich fraction. You don't just keep letting the dog produce into the cup. After he's gone clear, 10, 15 seconds after that, stop collecting in a cup. He can still squirt it on the ground. You're not going to stop him from ejaculating. But the thing is, we then add an extender to that. We don't want to collect the prostate fluid after the initial sperm-rich fraction. Sperm-rich fraction. That's what we want to keep. We don't want the clear fluid. The clear fluid, or the prostate fluid, we don't want that. So what we do is we then replace that with an extender. And it's more important when you're shipping semen. If you're just doing if you're doing an AI on site, you can add extender because it gives you a bit more volume and it might be a little bit helpful. Not real critical. When you're shipping, you absolutely have to use extender, and the ratio of extender to semen depends on the device you're using for shipping. For my product, we use about a 50-50 mix. It's don't have to use very much of it. The good extenders are expensive. The one that we use is called Canny Plus ST, and it is from Minitube. And it is about $38 for 20 cc's, which in a French Bulldog is about 4 shipments. It's expensive stuff, but it's very, very good. I have tested lots of different extenders over the years, and this was formerly from Mofa Global, and it had a slightly different name for it. It was called Andro Pro ST, or Chill Guard ST. Same stuff. This is a great extender. I would never use anything else without knowing that it was a better product, and I haven't found one yet. The Kenny extenders, the milk-based extenders, the yolk extenders, I think they suck. This is great. It's totally clear. It doesn't confuse the sperm where it thinks it's it. Well, I don't want to go into that detail. I've got other videos on it. Got a shelf life of 2 years. Get that stuff. Kenny Plus ST, 38 bucks. Okay. How do I get a pied? Then I've got a number of questions here. How do I get a pied? How do I remove a pied? I've got a white dog with spots on it. How did that happen? All right, these are all pied questions. So a pied dog is always SS on the spotted gene locus. A non-pied dog is NN, and a pied carrier is SN. Okay, so let's look and see what happens if you put do a Punnett square. And let's start with a dog that is NN, does not carry pied. And we'll put that to any dog you want. Let's go with a fully pied dog. What do you get? Well, you get all pied carriers. Remember, to get a pied dog, it has to be SS. Otherwise, it is either a pied carrier or not pied. A pied dog to a non-pied dog produces all pied carriers. None of them are pied. Okay. So then the interesting thing gets to be when you breed what appears to be a non-pied dog, but is actually a pied carrier. So that's an SN that you breed to an SN. What happens? So here, what happens is that you get, right there, you get a pied dog. And right here, you get a totally not pied dog. So 1/4 of the litter are pied. That's that one right there. 1/4 of the litter have nothing to do with pied at all, and the other half of the litter are pied carriers. So you can absolutely control pied by choosing, if you don't want any pieds, breed to either if you've got a non-pied dog, doesn't have a copy of pied at all, it's never going to produce a pied puppy. If you have a dog that has a copy of pied, you don't want pieds, breed to a dog that doesn't have pied. If you've got a pied carrier or a pied dog and you want pieds, then breed back to a dog that is either a pied carrier or is pied. So the question about the person who had the dog that was white with black spots, how did I get that? Well, the answer is that she bred 2 dogs that were not known to her were both pied carriers. And she got this, on average, 1/4 pieds out of it. So in the Frenchie world, you don't get white dogs. You get cream dogs, and they can have different colors of cream, but typically they're not white like this is here. In contrast, a pied dog typically is, the background is as white as my t-shirt is. And so what you get is what appears to be a white dog. And I run into this occasionally. Somebody says, I've got a white dog. Is that possible in a Frenchie? And the answer is yes, because it's a pied. And you may not be able to see it, but there's a little bit of pied somewhere on that dog. It might be a little spot on its ear, it might be a little dot above its eye, or something like that. But you'll always find somewhere a little bit of color somewhere on that dog, and that is actually what's called an extreme pied. Be careful with extreme pieds. Do not breed extreme pieds back to pieds. You are likely to get deaf dogs. If you've got an extreme pied, go with a stud that has nothing to do with pied at all, and avoid the whole mess of getting deaf dogs. Okay. Split heats. Yeah, run into this quite a bit, especially with young dogs. We're trying to breed a dog that's something between a year and 3 months old, and they have split heats. So the normal heat for a dog is, we're looking at progesterone level here on the side, and we're looking at days in heat. So this is day 1, and we're calling that first signs of blood, first blood drops. So that is day 1. Okay. So what do we see? Well, if you look at progesterone levels, it doesn't do much for about 5 days. So the progesterone level is less than 1, and we're 5 days into this. And then it starts to climb pretty rapidly until about day 9, it's at a 5. And here we are at a 5. And then it starts to go up really quickly, and we're going to breed this dog at about a 15. And there's our 15, and that's typically around day 11. That's the normal dog, that's what we see. So what happens to, I wish I had another colour here, what happens to a split heat? Well, a split heat, the dog shows the outward signs of being in heat. Starts to drop blood, back ends, vulva might start swelling, starts to hump and sniff on other dogs, lets other dogs maybe sniff on her. But what happens is, rather than doing this nice rise, that's not what happens. So what happens is that rather than getting to a progesterone level of 5, all of a sudden, the whole progesterone level just starts to peter off. And it might go down, it might go up, and it will finally do the normal thing. What point will that be? You just don't know. This could be day 21. It might completely shut down and go back down to a regular state, and then wait for a week or 2 weeks and then start a normal climb up again. So we might be now at day 30. So yet with a split heat, you don't know what's going on short of doing progesterone tests. You just don't know. So with a split heat, just be patient, and the dog will probably come into heat within another week or less. But you're going to have to do more progesterone tests to find out. What is a platinum? So a platinum dog is a cream dog that is also a chocolate dog and is also a blue dog. That is a platinum. The cream overrides everything. The dog looks cream. It does not look like a lilac dog. It looks like a cream dog. It will have a slightly different look to its nose and its eyes, be more washed out. If you want to see what a cream dog looks like, go to my site and look at Sahumpalot. It's a gorgeous platinum stud. So that's a platinum. So basically it's a lilac covered in cream. Someone's asking about the new test for what was formerly untestable chocolates. They could not find it on VetGen's site. So the only people that right now have a test for what was formerly untestable chocolate is VetGen. And you need to go to their French Bulldog section and look for the Cocoa test. And it is, I wish I'd written it down. I think it's 262. I think it's C262. But look, I think it's C262. I may not have the number right. But basically, you can go on their site, go to the French Bulldog section, look for the test. Towards the top of all the available tests, you'll see one for the cocoa gene. Not the chocolate gene. That's the testable chocolate. That's not what you want. You want the cocoa gene. And I think it's test C262. And I think it's $50 or $55 for the test. Okay. Stop sending pictures, I want all of your puppies. Ha ha ha. Yeah, thank you very much. But we are going to keep sending you pictures. Oh, somebody talked about scams here, and they said something that is a real giveaway, and it's a good piece of information. It's a real giveaway on a scam. Well, the first thing is scams are always too good to be true. You're getting a beautiful French Bulldog for $1,000. It's not to say that you can't buy full Bulldogs for $1,000. You absolutely can. But typically the quality of those dogs is not the same as the kind of dogs that I try to produce. But if somebody has got you on the hook for a dog that's $1,000, almost always the phone number they give you does not match the location of where they say the dog is. So that's a good thing and an easy thing to check. Go look at my area code is 580. Go do a Google search for 580 and you'll see it's the western part of Oklahoma. And if I live in New York, and I gave you that, that's a big red warning right off the bat. So that's a good bit of information that I don't think I've ever mentioned before. Check the area code of where they are. There could be an answer they've moved, but they better have a good answer for you. Okay, that's a good one. Can cream override pied? So what somebody's asking here is, if you have a dog that's EE and SS, will it be a pied dog? And I thought the answer always to this was that no, cream overrides everything. If it's a brindle dog, whatever, it's going to be overridden by that. And I've come across a dog the other day that tested EE and was SS, and it was a cream honey pied. So the answer to this is, I would have formerly said cream covers everything up, but I'm not sure that that's true, because I'm pretty sure that I've seen a dog now, one of my customers, that was a pied dog that was both SS and EE, and it showed pied. Last one before we break this one up, bottle feeding problems. Okay, so you've got some puppies and it's early on, maybe they're 24 hours old or less. Mum doesn't have any milk. Puppies are not feeding. What do you do? So if mum doesn't have any milk, still put your puppies on mum because the nursing helps bring the milk in. So that's the first thing. Don't stop them from nursing on mum. And they may just be getting a little bit of colostrum that you may not realize, which is beneficial to them anyway. But, so what do you do with puppies that won't feed? Well, introduce them to a bottle. And I like a 0 to 3 month old human baby bottle with a silicone nipple. I had some people mention that there are some preemie baby nipples, and that might be a good thing too, because you don't want something where you hold the bottle upside down and it starts to drip. You don't want that. They've got to suck on it to get the milk out. All right. Warm goat's milk, got to be warm. If it's not warm, they won't like it. And I can tell you this, that the first time that you feed puppies, they are just push it in their mouth. They don't want any part of it because it doesn't feel right to them. It doesn't feel like a warm teat. So what I do is I will put my fingers in their mouth, and I will physically put my fingers inside their mouth and open their mouth up and get that nipple in there. And they'll like this, and they'll take a suck, and all of a sudden they get milk out of it, and then they're getting after it. So the first 30 seconds can be a bit of a battle. They can be moving their head, but just grab their head. I take my hand to the back of their head and I put my fingers on the sides of their mouth and I physically open their mouth up and I stick the nipple in there. That's what you do. You can put a pinky finger in there, or suck on your pinky finger, and then quickly swap the nipple for the pinky finger. That'll work too. But you've got to kind of force the issue. Once they've got a taste of it, typically they're used to a bottle. Next time you introduce them to the bottle and they get that rubber thing on their mouth, they'll realize that that's milk coming and they'll be happy to be drinking it. If they still refuse it, then you've got to ask the question why. So if puppies are crying, they're cold, get them warmed up. Don't try to feed a cold puppy, warm it up first. Because that's probably the worst thing, well, it's not the worst thing you can do, but honestly, if a puppy is cold, if you put your finger in its mouth and it feels cold, get it warmed up first. How do you warm a puppy up? If you don't have an incubator, which is what you should have, by the way, so we recommend this, a product, we sell 2 versions of this. It's a temperature controlled incubator. You should have an incubator, because when you get in trouble with puppies, taking puppies to the vet, taking puppies back from a C-section, this is such a valuable item to have. It's a $300 item. I recommend highly, if you can do much of this, get one of these. Get ours, it's the best. Ours don't dry the air up. But anyway, if they're not drinking milk, not wanting milk, you've got to ask the question why. So if puppies are unhappy, then what's going on here? If the whole lot is unhappy, then typically it's because either they are hungry or because they got cold. If you can't get them to take a bottle, you can always tube feed a puppy. So I've got videos on that. It's not difficult to tube. People get scared of it, but tube feeding is the way to go. All right, I think time's up. Thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate everybody who watches my videos. If you like it, subscribe to us, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like it, tell us what we're doing wrong. If you've got recommendations or other things you'd like to have in these Q&A sessions, then absolutely let us know that. We'll address those. And remember, the most important thing is be nice to your doggies. Bye, everybody.